And now, we are so happy to be here in Durham, North Carolina, to be able to welcome back a giant in the fashion industry. We are so proud to be able to bring to the stage fashion icon, internationally known, a 1966 Hillside graduate, Mr. Andre Leon Talley. We welcome Mr. Talley to the stage. If the mayor and the school board members would come, please. Mr. Talley, we are extremely honored to be able to have you back here at your alma mater, Hillside High School. Okay. We are bestowing upon you the Hillside High School Legacy Alumnus Award presented to international fashion journalist icon Andre Leon Talley. Thank you.
Mr. Talley, I have a proclamation to read as the mayor of the city of Durham. But before I do that, and I have another presentation to make, I've been asked to welcome a couple of other people here. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be back at Hillside. I was here last month for the color purple, and it's fabulous to be here again tonight. What a great school, and what a great crowd. I want to just call out the public officials who are here tonight. Senator Floyd McKissick, if you all would stand as I call your name. Representative Zach Hawkins. 3 of our judges are here tonight. Chief District Court Judge Patricia Evans. Judge Doretta Walker. And our new judge, Clayton Jones. And then here with me on the stage, school board members, our school board chair, Mike Lee. Natalie Byer. Xavier Cason, who's you all know. And my friend, who I served with on the school board for many years, Minnie Fort Brown. We also have a couple of former elected officials here. I first want to introduce our former Mayor Pro Tem, Cora Cole McFadden. Cora, could you stand up? I want you to know she didn't go to Hillside, she went to Durham High School. I just want to say that. Sorry, Cora. And I also want to introduce our former mayor, Bill Bell. And Nakia Hardy, our deputy superintendent, is here as well. Ms. Hardy. I'm now going to read this proclamation to honor you, sir. We're so glad that you're here today. Honoring Andre Leon Talley. Whereas Andre Leon Talley is one of America's greatest fashion journalists, having served as editor-at-large for Vogue magazine and as international editor of the Russian fashion magazine Numero. And whereas Mr. Talley was raised by his grandmother, Benny Frances Davis, who was a cleaning lady at Duke University, who gave him what he called an understanding of luxury, and by his grandfather, a sharecropper. And whereas Mr. Talley grew up in the Jim Crow South, where he faced and overcame the disadvantages of segregation. And whereas Mr. Talley's grandmother cultivated in him a love of fashion, as you can tell, which was advanced by his discovery of Vogue magazine at the local library at the age of 9 or 10. And whereas Mr. Talley was educated at Hillside High School. graduating in 1966 in North Carolina Central University, where he graduated with a BA degree in French literature and was later granted a scholarship to Brown University, where he graduated with a master's degree in French literature, writing his thesis on the poet Charles Baudelaire. And whereas in the 1970s, Mr. Talley began to advance in the New York fashion world, working at Andy Warhol's factory and at Warhol's Interview magazine, volunteering for Diana Vreeland at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, working at Women's Wear Daily and the New York Times before becoming the fashion news director at Vogue, and then creative director, where he advocated for the inclusion of African American models in the shows of top designers. And whereas Mr. Talley served as editor-at-large of Vogue for 15 years before departing to serve as international editor for Numero, and whereas Mr. Talley has served on the board of the Savannah College of Art and Design since 1995, where a gallery is named in his honor, hosts his own radio show on Sirius XM, and is the subject of a documentary film that you all know, The Gospel According to Andre, which was released in the U.S. in 2018. And whereas a review in Variety magazine of the documentary said that Mr. Talley rose from humble beginnings in North Carolina to become arguably the high fashion world's first major African-American tastemaker, as well as the type of multilingual, Russian lit-citing public intellectual who is perfectly at ease gossiping on TV with Wendy Williams. And whereas in 2007 he was ranked in Out Magazine's 50 most powerful gay men and women in America, and whereas Mr. Talley advised Michelle Obama on fashion, introducing her to designer Jason Wu, from whom the First Lady purchased several dresses, including her inaugural gown. And whereas Mr. Talley is close friends with Mariah Carey, Kimora Lee Simmons, Venus Williams, and now Mr. Tad. And whereas Mr. Talley is one of the most distinguished graduates in the storied history of Hillside High School, having brought fame and respect to his alma mater and glory to the city of Durham. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schul, Mayor of the City of Durham, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim February 15th, 2019 as Andre Leon Talley Day in Durham, and do hereby urge all residents to take note of this occasion and to commend this celebration to the residents of Durham. And I also, Mr. Talley, if you wouldn't mind standing up briefly. I also have for Mr. Talley to present, which we rarely present, a key to the city of Durham.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you would, Mr. Talley, we have one last surprise for you. If you will put your attention to the video screen, either one, all right?
Okay, hello. Good evening, everyone. It's indeed an honor to be here at Hillside. I didn't go to this school. I went to the old Hillside, which was the real. But nevertheless, I would like to say that I'm very honored to be here with Dr. Wendell Todd. He does an extraordinary job, and it's all about the students. I came early. They were rehearsing at around 5 o'clock. I sat in the audience with Tiffany, who is the choral director. I turned to Tiffany and I said, "What are you, a junior?" She said, "No, I teach here." I was so impressed with the rehearsal because I saw that the students had discipline. There is dignity and discipline. There is a deportment about the way the students were in their rehearsal They were professional, they were rehearsing. And the most impressive thing was under the guidance of Dr. Tad. He drew them in a circle of prayer before they went off the stage, before they started the evening. So that's an honor to you, Dr. Tad. I'd like to thank the mayor of Durham for this beautiful, coveted proclamation. I would like to thank a lot of people in Durham. A lot of them are not here, but one of the most important persons in my life is here, and that is Mrs. Wanda Garrett. And Mrs. Garrett was my drama teacher. They didn't do a swing school in 1966, but I was in a production called The Mouse That Roared, right? Yes, yes. And I do remember that Mrs. Garrett was one of my favorite teachers. I had two teachers, Mrs. Cynthia P. Smith, who is deceased, and Mrs. Garrett. And Mrs. Smith taught me French, my love of France. I went through all 4 levels of French, 9th through the 12th grade with Mrs. Smith, and she was just wonderful. And she gave me my love of France and French literature. And then Mrs. Garrett, there she was. I adored Mrs. Garrett, but the most important thing about Mrs. Garrett, that I used to watch her walk down the hall in stiletto heels. She had the first pair of stilettos that I'd ever seen in my life. And she used to swish back and forth in her new look skirts. And this is why I also worked hard for Mrs. Garrett because I wanted her approval, but I loved watching her go down the hall. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Mrs. Smith also had the best dresses, and when I was honored in 1989, the year my grandmother passed away, I came back to Hillside High School that next year, and they gave me the Man of the Year award, and Mrs. Smith was on stage then. I don't know why you weren't, Mrs. Garrett. Where were you? Oh, you were traveling. Of course you were traveling. But this is a very important part of my life. I have always carried with me, and I got from the drama performance of The Mouse That Roared from Mrs. Garrett. You learn in these courses of drama and in this educational experience, it will go with you all your life. These students are the students of tomorrow. And I did learn confidence from Mrs. Garrett. I learned confidence in being able to be on stage and play 3 or 4 parts in The Mouse That Roared. So this is a very important program that you are in charge of, Dr. Tad. So I think you're doing a great work, and I am very honored and humble. I'd like to thank everyone that worked on this program with Dr. Tad to get me here. It's not easy to get me to come down here. No. I would like to say to the mayor, I thank you for your key, although some things were very incorrect in the proclamation because the legacy is that I advised Michelle Obama. No one advises Michelle Obama. No one. And I will not take credit for that. Never. Mrs. Obama is an extraordinary woman. As if you watch the Grammys, you don't even tell her what to put on. When I met Michelle Obama and we photographed her for Vogue, I went to the Hay Adams Hotel and there were 2 rooms full of clothes. And she picked the clothes she wanted to wear. She's a wonderful lady. So I just want to say thank you nevertheless, Mayor. And I'd like to acknowledge some of my friends. My best friend from high school, the one that I've remained close to, is Bruce Weaver. Is he here? Stand up. Mr. and Mrs. Weaver, Beverly Johnson. His wife, his childhood sweetheart. And then Barry Parker. Is he here? Barry Parker and his wife. And then my wonderful friends from Raleigh, came all the way from Raleigh, not so far away. Mr. and Mrs. Alex and Georgia Donaldson. Stand up. These are my great friends. They came to New York, we shared my birthday. So it's indeed a great honor for me to be here. I hope that we will enjoy the evening and the performance. And I've talked enough, and you've talked enough. Yeah, let me get off the stage. Thank you for this honor.
Thank y'all so very much. Thank y'all for allowing us to do the award ceremony. And to Mr. Gunter, and Mr. Wanda Garrett, and to Dr. Talley. Please give all our honorees a round of applause.